All right. Hi, everyone. Good to have you joining us. Thank you for coming. I know, as I mentioned to Linda at the start, I think some folks are out of town, either attending some conferences that are happening this week. I know there's a couple of people at the Library Publishing Forum in Seattle this week, and so it's nice that you all could join us and we can share some updates with you all. So if you haven't already, please do introduce yourself. Love to know where you're joining us from. As a reminder, my name's Amanda Coolidge, and I'm Vice President of Strategic Engagement and Growth at Pressbooks. And today we are going to give some product updates as to what's been happening. So we do have some new info to share with you, and we'll go through each of those a little bit more. Again, as always, our client and user research opportunities, any upcoming training webinars we have, and we want to share with you one in particular that an event we had a couple of weeks ago in our upcoming conferences and events. And then, as always, we want to hear from you, sort of what's top of mind. What have you been working on? Are there things that you want us to flag or bring forward? So one of the things that we wanted to share is that we have a software that is used to convert HTML documents to PDF, and we've recently upgraded that from what's called Prince 15 to Prince 16. This really does enable much better accessibility, and a lot of the accessibility work is stuff that we're continuing to work on quite regularly each sprint, and the developers are really making fixes dependent on what we're finding. And so there's a couple of specific fixes that this includes. One is having the table of contents tagged correctly instead of just being tagged as list, and language tags are exported correctly. One thing to note is that it is still possible to toggle between prints 15 and 16 at the individual book level if you go appearance, theme options, PDF options. But just so you know, Print 16 is now the new default for any new exports. So we're happy about that. Next up, one thing to note is we are going to be deprecating the My Catalog feature. So this will actually be removed in a future release, probably our Q4 coming up. And the reason we're doing this is really because we've seen that usage has declined over time. Most of the functionality is actually available through the improved network catalog. And so we're able to really simplify the platform by removing this feature and reduce any maintenance overhead. So in terms of what you should do or your users should do is really use the network catalogs to curate and share collections, and think about maybe creating custom landing pages or external curation discovery tools. Um, uh, just so you know, if you are an enterprise client using my catalog, you will be contacted directly to discuss any options. So stand by for that if you're wondering about that. Another thing we've done is we're still, as always, tweaking and updating the link checker through our Content Toolkit. And so one of the things you can now do is remove broken links directly from the link checker report. So unlinking is what it's called. Will leave the link text in place, but it removes the link that the text was previously pointed to. So the way it works is unlink action is available for individual broken links as well as bulk. Then there'll be a confirmation dialog that explains the impact before changes are made. And if a URL appears multiple times, all the occurrences will be fixed in one action. So that's pretty cool. And I will just put the link to that documentation in our chat here, because I think that will be helpful as you go through. So we're excited about that. Um, Hi, welcome. We're just sharing a few things here. Sorry, one thing I do want to say is, does anybody have questions about Unlink broken links or the deprecation of my catalog or anything with the Prince 16 updates?
Basically, just I want to confirm that no action really is required on our part
That's correct.
for any of this. Yeah, okay. Good
Yeah,
deal.
yeah.
Thank you.
A couple of other, and also if you have any other questions, love to throw them in the chat or raise your hand or interrupt me. I'm fine to answer them. Um, the other thing to note is we did get recertification for our Pressbooks LTI, which is always important, so that you have that opportunity and it doesn't affect you in any way. I mean, if it wasn't recertified, it would have affected you, but it was. So happy about that. Another thing is that previews are now available for digital and print PDFs. Something that we did with accessibility that we're the last two that we're really happy about is there's now sort of a new announced progress bar for screen readers and accessibility tools. And we can also have alt text for any sort of contributor images. So let's see if anybody just gonna great. Okay. Any questions about that or as we're going through? Okay. So I know a lot of folks have been wondering about the Google Docs importer, and at our last product update, we did show sort of a sneak peek demo of the Google Docs importer. Yesterday, we engaged our team in a lot of load testing and testing of the Google Docs importer in order to ensure that it's working properly and that the tweaks can be made and all of that works before we actually release it. But one thing we need to do, and you've probably seen a lot of security issues happening across Google and everywhere basically right now. In order to ensure that we have your security at heart, especially with your Google Docs, and not to make anything an issue, we are going to be performing a security audit in our next sprint to ensure that this feature is as safe and secure as possible. So it's not one of those things that can just sort of be turned on and available right away. It's really important that as Pressbooks that we ensure the safety of all of your documents and everything that you are working on at your institutions so that when you do this, it passes that security audit. So we will definitely let you know when this comes out and what's happening. But yeah, it's been exciting to see and exciting to see this feature available. Any questions or comments about this one? Okay. Um, so one of the things that, as always, as you know, we've been working on a micro-credential authoring platform. We are always interested in meeting with folks if you have questions or comments. Jamie introduced me to one of her colleagues who works in the workforce development micro-credential space a couple of weeks ago, and we had a really great conversation about what's happening in Oklahoma around this area. And so if you have folks at your institution who are doing that type of work and would like to see a demo or have a chat about what this means, please have them reach out to me or you reach out to me. I'd love to connect. Um, just as a background, we will have something available for the fall for a pilot project with Maricopa community college, specifically in the areas of financial literacy. And as we move through, we'll talk about sharing more of that workout in subsequent updates. So, Pressbooks users group, we're excited to host our second meeting, which is July 7th. And I'm going to put the Zoom link in the chat here. This is our second meeting, and we're going to be focused on network hygiene. This has come up a lot in the product update meetings that I've been a part of. So removing any old books or users, etc. And again, as a reminder, the Pressbooks users group happens every other month to this product update meeting. And you can always view the rolling agenda, and I'll put the link in the chat for you as well for that rolling agenda. But it's always a good spot just to hear from others about some specific issues that you might be having. And if you do have topic suggestions, please do reach out to Steele or Jen, because we are always looking for other topics, additional topics that might be of interest
And I'll
to.
just add something quickly, Amanda. We also are still looking for folks who might want to be co-presenters on this session. So if you feel like you've got some good practices at your institution for network hygiene, reach out to me and let me know, and we'd love to involve you in that session.
Awesome. Oh, this is where I remind you about the new cadence of the Pressbook of the product update meetings. So just a reminder, we are doing this particular meeting every third Thursday of every other month at 2 p.m. Eastern. So please do remove any of the old meeting invites from your calendar. Thank you for bearing with us with all of the Zoom Zoom whiteouts that we were having there and confusion. So really appreciate that. There are some free training webinars coming up. July 7th, we've got the Getting Started with Pressbooks. July 13th, create engaging learning materials. And then June 22nd and July 22nd, we have Preparing Your Book for Publication and Distribution. Love to have any of your users attend, or people that might have interest in getting started or thinking about building this out. It would be wonderful to share these as you need them. And Jen just put the link into that as well. Thank you, Jen. If you weren't able to attend, we had a really great session a couple of weeks ago called Pressbooks Around the World on collaborative publishing across borders. This was an incredible story about 85 authors that came together across 6 continents to develop a Pressbook on e-portfolios, and talking about what they learned from the development of e-portfolios. It was absolutely an engaging and very exciting conversation. It just sort of radiated passion for both open education and Pressbooks. And it just was a really lovely way to understand what it means to do this international collaboration, and would definitely encourage you to take a look at the webinar recording. They will also be presenting, if you're going to be going to OE Global or participating at Open Education Global, virtually, they'll be presenting as well. So you won't miss out, but I highly recommend it. It was wonderful. Also, we have a couple of conferences and presentations that we wanted to share with you. Next week, we have a couple happening in Milton Keynes at Alt OER. So one is on open metadata and open ecosystems, so how publishers can use open infrastructures to boost discoverability. So that one should be really interesting. It's going to be with another group called Tote Metadata. So looking forward to hearing how that goes. And then at Open Education Global in October, we will be hosting a couple of sessions. One is Open Publishing and Practice across Europe. And then beyond the PDF, so finding and remixing living OER with the Pressbooks directory. And just to note, we know that there's a lot of client sessions out there. If there are any sessions that you are doing that you would like us to promote, please let us know. We'd love to share them on LinkedIn and be able to sort of spotlight the work that you're doing as well.
Also, just want to note something else that I forgot to put into this slide. I didn't include what we're doing at the Open Ed conference also in October. And I just wanted to highlight one session in particular on publishing and publicizing your books because we're going to be joined by a few clients, including Cheryl Casey, who's on the call today. And
Yeah.
Cheryl always does such a wonderful job of promoting new publications. So she's going to be joining us, and some folks from Sheffield are going to be joining us to talk about discoverability and
Mhm.
metadata. So just wanted to shout that session out, but we've got lots of time to promote that before October.
Awesome. Oh, also, I should say, if you are going to be at any of these events in person, please do let us know. We really want to, we love meeting up. We love, making sure to connect, chat with you, and just, grab a coffee or a bite to eat together. It's always nice to see people in person. So, another thing I did want to point out, and Jen, it's not on here, but I wanted to raise it is I just thought of it as you were talking, is the book of the month. And I was wondering if you just want to share a little bit about that. It might be of
Yeah,
interest
so
to
the most folks on this call will be familiar with the book of the month because it's been around for a while. But
them.
what I'm doing is just kind of changing it in that we've opened it up to community voting, and so it's been really great to see folks. There was I don't remember how many submissions, but this is a reminder for me that I need to put the submission form in the forum somewhere that's always accessible because so far I've just put it out in newsletters or shared it in this meeting, but I need to kind of create a permanent home for that and encourage folks to keep submitting. But our goal moving forward is to just involve the community in this more, have them nominate texts, and if willing, connect us with the authors because I've just been doing some interviews with the authors to learn about the story behind the publications. So we've got a couple blogs coming out about that, just trying to deepen what those stories are. So I this is a good reminder for me to post that in the forum and tag folks and just remind them that this is a continuing thing that if you've got a new publication you're excited about, please submit it for consideration to the book of the month.
Nice, thank you. So those are some of our updates. And I'd love to hear from folks, what's happening in your area, what's sort of a project of interest or something that you have been wondering about or thinking about, or you have questions. Um, Love to hear. I'm gonna stop sharing. So if folks want to put anything in the chat or raise your hand or Daryl.
Hey, I just wanted to give a shout out to Thomas and the Pressbooks support team and the other tech people for a quick response to an issue we had where we got flooded with over 300 submissions to set up a new account, a new Pressbooks account from some spammers or hackers or bots or something. But it happened twice, and it was super frustrating to wake up to over 300 of these messages. And apparently, it's also happened to JMU from the same email domain. So I got a message from Thomas this morning saying that the tech team has implemented rules that they think will prevent this from happening again. So, yay. And it said they're also working on additional anti-spam measures for the contact forms. So thank you very much. That was really a pain to sort through 300
Oh,
emails.
that
Yeah,
would be
sorry you had to
awful.
go through that, Cheryl. It's been a very anti-spam week here. I know that
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of the tech team has been very focused on this problem, so I'm glad they've gotten where they've gotten, but sorry that you had
Yeah.
to deal with that. I'm sure that was no fun.
I'd love to hear from Rebecca. You wrote in here, we're excited about the collaboration. We just wrapped up with an art sculpture faculty member. What did you do, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, so let me put the gonna put the URL in the chat, and I apologize that it is just the URL and I didn't make it a descriptive link. Um, but we did a quarter-long project where students in the course made these musically inspired tapestries that were all created from recycled materials. And so students basically spent a bunch of time creating their tapestries. They wrote up artist statements to go with them. And then the librarian, Zola Mumford, and myself worked with the faculty member to basically collect images of their tapestries, their artist statements, and the song that inspired them. And so we put together the digital version of the book, and then the art faculty member is kind of an expert in InDesign. So she put together a physical copy of the book that you can buy that, you know, largely is sort of in an art book format. So we're kind of excited that we have both the digital version to show off the students' incredible work to everyone. And then we're also just really happy that we have kind of a low cost physical copy of the book that anybody can buy if they just, want it for their library, or if the students are wanting to order extra copies for themselves and their families. Because the money that we had to do this project, a good portion of it went so that students could all have their own copy of the book. And we also had a big release party for them that was a ton of fun.
That is so cool. I love this. This is such a neat project. Oh, and you have celebratory photos and everything.
Yeah.
This is such a great idea and such a unique way. I think sometimes, at least, in my what I've seen is sometimes faculty or areas of the academy don't see themselves in sort of this format, So it's lovely to see this and to really just celebrate the work of the students. It's very cool. Very cool.
Thanks so much.
I just noted in the chat, I'd love to post that to the Pressbooks LinkedIn. I think that's a very cool project. So.
Michelle, I was going to send support an email, but because I'm here, I had someone ask me this morning about uploading a Braille export file to Pressbook. I suggested they link it within the text of the book, but I thought I would flag the interest. Oh, interesting. I am going to share that with our support. Um, do others have any experience with that? The Braille export? I have not. Um, and I have not seen that. I'd be very curious to hear if others have.
I can just say something quickly. I have no experience with it either, but yeah, she specializes in an area of accessibility and wants to make everything available by Braille. Um, yeah, she said a Braille file is really just a fancy text file. So I was like, oh, well, maybe that's more possible than I realized. Yeah, thought I'd just bring it up.
Okay, well, let us know how that goes because I'm curious and we'll see if I'll see if I sometimes support Thomas or Mitch end up having had experiences where someone's asked this before. So I just posted it in our support Slack to see what people if they can
Yeah,
share
yeah,
anything. But
that's all I was thinking too.
yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Any areas of interest or things you're working on or okay. Well, I don't want to just take up more time if we're sort of hitting the end here. As always, we appreciate your time and attention to these meetings, and hopefully we'll have some more updates to share with you in a couple of months. And excited to hear how everyone's summers pan out. And yeah, Jen, do you have something you'd like to share? Or you're just getting on screen?
No, just going on camera to like say goodbye.
Oh, okay, okay. And if you are going to be in at any of those conferences in person, please do let us know. We'd love to meet up and see you. So thank you, everyone. We'll send out the recording with the transcript when we get it, and I hope you all have wonderful weekends and take care of yourselves.
Bye, everyone.